Welcome back everyone, this is Alex from Studio Trejo, and today we're doing another vintage lens review with the Vivitar 35-105 f3.5 constant aperture zoom lens. It's been a journey for me with this lens ever since I first heard of a vintage zoom lens with a great focal length, constant aperture, and rumored to have that softish, cinematic feel to photos and video. Could it be possible? Coming from a zoom lens? Let's take a closer look. In the 1970s, Vivitar was pumping out zooms and primes for photographers in the US. The key to their distribution was to have Japanese lens companies build the lenses, and Vivitar would market them here in the US. According to the serial number, this lens was built by the Tokina Lens Company, who is still actively making photo and cinema lenses today. This lens was very popular in its time because of features like a constant 3.5 aperture that stops down to f16, the focal length that covers a 35-105, that would satisfy street and portrait photographers alike. It has a clever design for its macro-ish type feature at 35mm. By turning the zoom ring to 35mm and pulling down on the zoom ring, you engage the close focus function. It's pretty weird, but it actually works really well. And the images are sharp and it creates a 1:5 ratio, which isn't macro, but you're getting something. As opposed to the more common one-touch push-pull system for zooms, this lens functions kind of like a modern zoom, with a two-touch system with one ring for smooth focusing and one for zooming. This lens is known to be part of the Tokina Heavy Metal series. Why? Because it's made of metal and glass and it's heavy. It has 13 elements in 11 groups, a 72 diameter filter thread size, and it comes in at 1 pound, 11 ounces. To say that this lens feels solid in your hands is an understatement. So this isn't just another junky zoom lens that you throw in the back of your closet. If you throw it, you might actually hurt someone because this is a serious piece of glass. Now, it's not all great because this is a 40-year-old lens, held back by the technology of its time. Like most vintage lenses, it's soft wide open, but this lens is especially soft and glowy between 35 and 45mm at f3.5 in certain lighting conditions. From 45-105 wide open, it's workable. Or stop it down to f5.6 and everything sharpens up throughout the zoom range. This lens loses contrast and it flares when pointed near a light source, but this is almost a given considering the age of the lens. It has 6 aperture blades, which gives you a nuts and bolts bokeh when you stop it down. And lastly, it's a heavy walk-around lens that you may hesitate to pull out of your bag. But if you do decide to pull it out of your bag and use it, the colors are punchy and on the cool side of the spectrum. The black and whites are ethereal. The soft feeling of this lens adds character to your photos, but also gives your video footage a filmic quality. So the faults in this lens that would drive any photographer nuts would be considered a positive in the video world. It's just cinematic. And I know you hear it all the time, but here it's happening with a zoom lens that could fit into your workflow. It flares, it's low contrast, and it blooms to highlights. Even the two-touch system. While it isn't my favorite for manual focusing zoom lenses in photography, it is a standard in video work. This lens comes from a time when engineers were pushing the limits of optical design. Even the best intentions of having a lens do more than what it should didn't always result in great imagery. But when it comes to the Vivitar 35-105, because of its defects, its low cost, and availability, I mean, you can literally find this lens rebranded as Solagor, Asanuma, Hoya, Bushnell, and others. This relic from the past is having a renaissance. But as far as this little beast, the build quality, imagery, even its idiosyncrasies have won me over, and I'm keeping it. If you see one out there, try it out and leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next lens review.